I owe my loyalty to my grandchildren, who in turn owe their loyalty to the people of the Bowerlands, the lands that gave us the divine light that we use to guide them.
3 weeks ago, I executed 2 men. One of them was little more than a boy, for charges of sabotage and sedition. They had attempted to break into the Imperial garrison at Saxon, and they had loaded a cart full of pikes that they had stretched a tarp over, and they were about to make their break for it, and that's when they were caught. He wasn't the youngest boy that I have performed my duties on, but I've seen men twice or thrice his age, with every ounce of courage that he had, but only half of his despair. When he was asked if he had any final words, he gave the magistrate a look harder than I ever believed possible from a boy, and said, "There's nothing left to say that mattered," and he put himself down on the block. Well, his mother had passed. I believe that his father's off fighting in a war somewhere. His sister hardly cried when I saw them lay to rest that night. Do you remember the last uprising? It must have been 40 years ago now.
You can tell that for a moment, Andis does something very uncharacteristic, and he seems to have disappeared from the conversation. His eyes have drifted away. It's almost as if he's not quite present in the room, and then he snaps out of it, and then he simply says, "Yes, every moment of it."
They burnt the old church in Hayfield, the one that
I was born in. Eel, you can say it.
Yes, they burnt your parents' church. And that shouldn't hurt more than all of the dead did.
Eel, we are living churches. We are cornerstones. We are belfries, bells, and altars. We are every candle and pew and stained glass window. We are every censer, every brazier. That is our function. When I left that church after the death of my human grandchildren, my mortal grandchildren, of old age, I never went back. I only knew the church had burned down when I saw the smoke plume over the hills, and I knew its location. I saw the smoke and I said, they must be burning the church, because they think it means something. They, and he sort of points a leather-gloved finger at you, they have done this to you. Not just made you kill, not just made your practice illegal, the practice that was given to you by the divines. They have banned it so that they can ply their trade. They have crawled into your mind and made you think that a pile of stone means anything at all.
When you pile up the stones, when you say the words, when a pile of stone means something to the dead stay dead. He'll grabs the handbook and flips it open to the passage on Zalo. They bury their dead in cairn tombs, and they tend to piles of bronze weapons. They don't have hordes of skeletons wandering about. The people are haunted, but the lands are less so. Because, in many ways, in Zalo the dead stay dead. Because some people, my people, were there to pile the stones up in the right way, and say the right words, and make the right gesture, and everybody believed that it meant something. And the dead stay dead.
You say the phrase, everyone believed that it meant something, and you see a glint in his eye, as if he watched you walk into a chess trap, And then you can see him resist. He knows it's not the moment, but he wants to get you so bad, and he backs off and says, "Eel, to me the church is still there. When I look at the wreckage, I still see it in place. I can walk up and I can touch the stone. I see it in its destroyed state, in its extant state, and its pre-extant state. It is all of these things all at once. It does not register to me that it has changed, and if the old charred brick were removed and it were replaced with something else, a hovel, a tenement, perhaps another church or a monument, I would see that there too, and then it would be a new place, but it would not be also not the other places that it was." He looks like he's trying to sort through what he's trying to explain to you, as if he hasn't quite pieced it together.
So the past lives in the present.
I think as long as we keep it, yes. I think perhaps that is true. That must be it.
So another 10,000 dead. Another great rallying of the peaks. Bloodshed and famine.
What if there was another way?
Another way to what? Another way to stop starving?
Perhaps we can stop or delay the slaughter, or perhaps we can at least find a way to get all of this off of your broad shoulders.
Do you have other new adherents to the practice of gravekeeping that perhaps I can pass my torch on to? Make them responsible for interring the corpses?
I think we're just going to have to make do for now. I think that perhaps it is not safe for you here anymore.
Eol goes over to the rolled up executioner's cloak. This covered in brazen blood and has the scroll case inside. And he pulls it out. I could make it safe for myself. Deliver this man and this scroll to this census organization. I would have to deliver you as well. And there would be a lot of paperwork, a lot of questions. We may or may not make it out. Although, I've never buried one of a kind, so maybe we'd come out in the end. And I could go back to tend to my tools when it rains. I haven't quite made a century yet. Be good to see 200 and 100 beyond that.
As you mention reaching 200 and 100 beyond that, he gets another faraway look in his eyes. And then he comes back to you and simply says, "It would be, what if, and just by way of conjecture, what if this brazen was not on the way to delivering that scroll case?"
Then the census, Centauri would be on the lookout for it.
But if we leave now, in the dead of night, packing up just what we need to travel, and we head fast to the west, perhaps we can get it to where it was going.
To the west, you say?
Yes. He points at the book, which is open to Zolo. He can't see the text, he just points at it and says, "Finchen."
Eel goes over to the book and reads some of the Zolo entries and then slides it shut, puts it into, we'll say, like a shirt pocket. You know how there are those underarm holsters for guns? He has one of those for his keeper's handbook.
Yeah.
So he slides it in there and then goes over to door side where the sword is bound up, and he just picks it up and slings it over his back and then picks up a bag that was next to it. I have excellent news. I'm already packed, and I can at the very least get safe passage out of the cabinet.
As you grip the sword, your eyes catch the brazen, and for a moment you are filled with an overwhelming curiosity a question that will not leave your mind as you grip the pommel, that disappears when you wrap the sword around yourself and are no longer touching it. Simple question is, how many men has this brazen killed, and how many of them are innocent?
Do we know what brazen funeral practices are? I mean, Eol does. Do we have an idea for that?
So I had kind of had it in my head that if the brazen died, that the funerary practice would be generally brazen are left in place and their weapons are sent back. The best that they're often given is a roadside burial or a burial in place.
Okay. I think Eol looks at this dying man, or this now stabilized man, implement of seed violence. This vicious killer that has been fighting the Emperor's wars for all of his life. And he looks at the scroll, and he picks up the machete that the brazen had brought in, and with one smooth, practiced swing, buries it deep into his chest. Because this man is already dead if he had made it out with stolen materials, and better for him to go quietly and while he is sleeping than whatever the Empire could do. And what more fitting way for a brazen's life to end, for a killer to be killed by his own sword.
Andis makes a look like he wants to step in and elects not to. Andis will remember this.
It's a mercy, if this is what you believe that it is. And besides, we're leaving tonight. He may not last till morning, and we will not be able to tell anybody that he is here. This is the least painful way.
Andis shrugs and simply says, I suppose that makes sense. You do feel just a brief sense of jealousy, of loss, coming from the blade wrapped around your back. That passes relatively quickly. What do you do with the machete?
I wipe it clean on the executioner's cloak, which I leave over the brazen's body. I don't need it anymore. I find something else to wrap the machete in, because this man needs to be buried, which means that his body stays here, and the sword goes back to Vincent to be passed on to whoever's going to take it next.
Andis looks slightly impatiently at the door and then simply says, do you think the work is done?
No, I know for a fact that it isn't. But I know that we will get there. It's a requirement now for him to be laid to rest properly. Puts the machete, ties it onto the pack as best he can, and then shoulders it. Says, world will see that the road is clear for us.
Very good. I will lead the way. I happen to know a shortcut taking us down through the hills. We hopefully shouldn't be seen. He leads you out and disappears into the darkness and the rain. Only a peal of thunder reveals his silhouette tracing very quickly into the shadows.
I follow as best I can. I know I'm going to make it. It's within my domain now. I'm required to.
True, yeah. You travel for several hours and the rain finally lets up. And at first light, having reached the lowlands, having reached near the edge of the Great Stone River Valley, just about to go into a misty tree line, Andis stops and throws a finger up. Eol?
Yes.
I think we've been followed.
Gonna take a look for that.
He can sense you preparing to take a look, and he says, do so very slowly, please.
Okay, I'm gonna take a 10 on my control, which will give me an 8 for impact. I've been fucking hot dice night.
Rage dice.
Rage dice.
Oh my god.
Got a 9 and a 7.
Okay. 7 feels real good.
Yeah. That's my third 7.
Yeah. Lucky 7s, baby. Oh, this is a good one. You are able to notice a consistent tell in addition to specific falsehoods. You stop and you turn around and you are able to hear the rustling from behind you. But one of the figures that has been following you was not able to hide, and so is standing there in the very dim but very slowly growing light of the pre-sunrise as the rain has cleared. So mostly obscured by the fog and darkness and the lack of stars, but still you can see the unmistakable figure of a long-limbed humanoid in very tight, ragged robes with an unnaturally long neck, completely bald and quite pale. The falsehood that jumps out at you is that this thing is not alone. There are two more hiding in the shadows behind it.
Do I know what this is?
It's definitely an unglamoured vampire.
The Centuries found us. There are 3 of them.
Mm-hmm. One of them's wounded.
How do you know that?
I can smell it. Yeah.
Oh.
I can smell the blood. The brazen must have got him. That must have been why they retreated.
Good. Should make things a fair bit easier.
Yes. Okay. Here's what we're going to do. Spot the wounded one and go for that one. Make it fast. I'll hold off the other 2.
Yes.
All right? 1, 3. 1, 2, 3. You get a D10, and they will get a D8 for initiative.
Okay. That is a 5.
They got a 1. So combat in this is going to be, it is a back and forth, but it is supposed to be more like high action. So it's loosey-goosey freeform. You can use abilities, you can make shit up, and then we can decide sort of what the modifiers look like. When you make an attack, we still do roll our control and impact, just like everything else. Impact directly translates to hit point damage.
Gotcha.
And if you are unhappy with a roll, you can use effort to boost it. It's 1 point per effort. So if you roll like a 6, but you would rather have a 7, then you can use an effort and boost it. You can do that after the fact.
Gotcha. So other than that, you just describe action and make a roll?
Yeah, pretty much. There's like range bands and stuff, but since these are all like y'all are melee fighters, I'm not going to worry too much about that. If I throw archers and shit at you, then that'll be a whole other thing. But yeah, it's really just supposed to be like action-y, dynamic-y, very narrative, free-flowing. If there weren't initiative, it could even be that like there is no difference between combat and non-combat. It's just another type of role.
Oh man, I just remembered a thing that's in the backstory that I got to account for.
Okay, what's your thing that you have to account for? Oh, dealing lethal damage with your sword.
I can't kill these people myself. So, Andis and I have initiative.
Yeah, you guys have the advantage.
Eel spins and drops his pack. And I don't even think he draws the sword, but he runs full tilt at the first vampire, the nearest one, and is going to use his big horns to ram him. This is kind of dumb, so I'm going to call it D8 on control and then for impact.
Okay. And what you're trying to do is you're trying to beat their defense score, which I have in front of me. I promise. I do. I have it. There it is.
You got it? You have it? It's
I have their defense. I have their defense score. Yeah.
Is it lower than 4?
It is 4.
It is 4. That's a partial success. I read that.
Yes, that is a partial success. Oh, how do partial successes work in combat? Oh, you would achieve half your impact if you accept the partial, or you can use an effort to get it a full. So either half impact or full success.
I kind of want that 8. I'll spend an effort.
All right. We spend an effort. You are now down to 3 effort. So I rolled randomly, and it just so happens that the dumbass who exposed himself and is not hidden is the wounded one. So as you're rushing, you see that this one actually did get stabbed by the brazen machete. You can see a very obvious, nasty, gnarly gash wound in its cloak. One thing you notice is these are, you're used to seeing vampires who are quite fancy. These are really ugly ghoulies. These are not glamored at all. They are not wearing finery. They do not even have weapons. And you bash into this guy with the force of a charging 6-foot ram and knock him all the way back into a tree, dealing 8 damage. You sort of push him quite a bit, and you hear 2 screeches behind you as you hear, like, standing probably maybe 5 or 10 feet behind you is Andis, who has loosed his bow, moved pretty much directly behind you, and shot both of them in the chest with arrows. They are still alive, but it was lightning fast. And now they will act.
Okay.
What is your defense?
2.
So this one did a D6, D12, slashing wildly at you as it screeched, and you are able to grip the forearms and hold it back, preventing it from gashing you with its claw-like fingernails. You do not take any damage from this attack at all.
Oh, good. I love to hear it.
Yeah. In the meantime, you hear a scuffle as the other 2 descend upon Andis, a tornado of claws, screeching, and teeth. You can tell that it has entered into a close melee behind you, but you're sort of focused on the guy directly in front of you that you're pushing up against a tree. Mm-hmm. Still with your head, by the way. Yes. What would you like to do next?
Is 8 a lot of hit points?
Yes. 8, you hit the shit out of that guy.
Okay. What I would like to do then is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a D12 for control, which would give me a D6 for impact. And as I continue to push down and bear this guy against a tree, I reach kind of like on my belt and pull out I think the knife would look a lot bigger in somebody else's hands. Like, not only is he and muscular, but also fluffy, because still has not sheared back his winter coat. The 3 marks of office for all keepers are the silver torque in the shape of a shovel. Eel's is underneath his neck wool. The copy of the Gravekeeper's Handbook, and a silver blade. If we remember back to Leodwa from Skeletons, they had a silver sword.
Yeah.
Eel keeps a dirk. So, like, longer than a dagger, but like something that is potentially functional as like a big knife, but can also kind of be fought with. So, kind of with like one arm pinning back this vampire's hands as it's swinging down at him, and pinned up with his horns, Eel is going to try and just jam it up into underneath the vampire's ribs. As we realize that we have not come up with rules as to how you kill vampires, they're just very tough, and you beat them up, and that's how we do it in game.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh no. I got a 3 on my D12.
Oh, that's rough. You could boost that to a partial.
Yes, I'm going to try very hard.
Yes.
It's an effort.
What's your D6?
It is a 6, so I deal 3 more damage.
Oh, that's great. So it grabs your wrist while you're pushing the dirk in, and you, with your largeness, use your whole body weight to actually bust it through the rib cage and go in.
It starts gaining ground, and starts pushing the blade back. And what Eel does is rears his head back and batters him with his head. And that's just enough to get the blade in.
Andis and the other 2 vamps continue scuffling behind you, and the one that you are fighting gets a retort. You rear the head back, and you headbutt it, and it stumbles back, which gives it just enough space to lunge in with the left hand on the blind side, the one that you weren't pushing up against, and it finally, with its nasty claws, rakes you horribly across your face, even catching your neck, just shy of the jugular. It stings horribly, and you can also feel that it is a dirty cut as you take 5 damage.
Oh, that's half of them.
Yeah, this hits. These things hit hard.
Oh, God.
I mean, you took half of its hit points.
It's taken 11.
It has taken 11 and is still standing.
These guys are kind of serious.
Yeah. That being said, it's not looking good. This one was already wounded. Still got 2 effort left and a whole ass sentry blade.
Yeah. Man, I don't know why. I don't want to I don't want to have to explain to my boss why I was killing vampires.
A census taker.
Yeah, okay. So it got me on this big cut kind of across my neck.
Like neck, jaw, and cheek. It got you with 4 claws.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's no good.
No, you don't want that.
What's fun about me playing a god is Eol can plausibly soak a lot of damage, and we can just like make the shit that happens to him extra bloody and rough and still maintain plausibility because it's like, yeah, he heals fast, it's fine.
Well, one of the inspirations for Cosmic Century Knights is like not just like your one's piece and those, but also like fucking Berserk. Like we can, you know, we can spill some blood in this.
3 HP, 50% on a D6. So it might be time to step it up to... Excuse me for metagaming.
No, that's the point.
If I only need to deal 3, and I bump it up to a D8, that's a 75% chance to kill this motherfucker, and a 60% chance to hit. I don't love those odds, if I'm honest. But
if this was a shonen anime, you would be thinking through this like in your subtext voice before the next blow. Motherfuckers in shonen metagame all the time.
Okay. You're not going to believe what the roll is. I rolled a 6-7.
Hey, you rolled a 6-7. And that's the daily double. Tell him what he won.
So, if I can roll back the narration a little bit, this just to get this on screen, this claw comes down and it rakes across Eel's like cheek and jaw, and like one of them's catching his shoulder, but then the middle one gets caught in that silver tort. And this will be the first time that we see it on screen. And it's like, oh, hey, that's the necklace that is in the shape of a shovel that is bent permanently around his neck. So it has to be like bent out of shape in order to be removed. So, you know, fans of the show will be like, oh, hey, like the skeleton from the Skeletons. This is a thing that we're familiar with. And the claw gets caught on the torque, and Eel gets jerked and pulled very close to the vampire, who's like up and snarling in his face. And I think the blade that got pushed in that earlier attack is still in there, and the vampire had staggered away. And Eel, we get this like quick cut of pulled in, and vampires face to face with Eel, who's and snarling and just looking real gnarly. And Eel yanks the dirk out, pulls his head back, and batters it one more time, and it crumples to the ground.
Yeah. It does, in fact, crumple. You believe, at least as well as you can be certain, that you have, in fact, killed this vampire with your silver gravekeeper knife. Hard to be sure sometimes when it comes to vamps, but you feel good about this one is probably not going to be bothering you for a moment. You still hear the scuffling going on around you, or rather behind you, where Andis was fighting the other two.
Is it my turn to act again?
It's your turn to react, and then we can kind of update the scene.
Okay.
You turn around and see that they have descended upon Andis and are on top of him, literally like tearing him apart. And the figure, which was Andis, has basically stopped moving. And then, as if emerging from the dim mists, Andis casually walks out of the shadows, grabs one of them by the cloak. It rakes its fingers into his gut, and then he like slits its throat with a knife, drops to his knees. The other one descends upon him, kills him. He emerges from the mists again and stabs the other one in the back of the head. And for a moment, he looked frantic and lost. And then eventually these like dead figures of himself reincorporate with him and he is standing heaving over 2 dead vampires without a scratch on him.
That's a hell of a trick.
I didn't know I could do that until just now.
No.
No,
Well, I'm glad you're okay.
I am too. I suppose now is as good a time as any to tell you. Beyond that tree line, as it descends just a few more miles, is the Stone River Valley, which you know. I believe that you can make the rest of the trip by yourself. Eol, this is the last time that you will see me.
Do you think so?
Yes.
Why?
Something has been happening to me for the last few years. It started as what I thought as a kind of quietude. I thought that perhaps a peace had settled upon me. And it has since turned into something else, where the silence crept in, something else did too. I have been hearing and seeing things. Things far in the distance, things nearby, details that I shouldn't know, knowledge that I have no business having. Voices in a language that predates the existence of language itself, of words, and our ability to put them into sound to portray concepts. And now, this moment here has revealed to me that even my body is not reacting to the natural world the way it should. I did die twice there. I felt those deaths, and then I simply decided to return, and there I was. And all of this time, I feel a desperate yearning. Every time I touch the bark of a tree, and it used to be that I could tell the entire history of a tree with a bark, I feel nothing and care nothing for it. Even the faces of my great-great-great-great-grandchildren, even the people closest to me, even you, I feel so distant from all of you, as if you were far away, even though you're standing right in front of me.
Well, grandfather, if this is the last time that I would see you, and it will not pass to me to lay you to rest, then I hope that you find whatever it is that you're looking for out. I wish you well with only one regret.
And what is that, grandson?
That we'll never actually know what questions this raises. And Eol gives Andis a hug, and then heads off down the road.
As you hug, he grips you tightly and simply says, "If you need me, just whisper."
I will remember.
And then he lets go, and with the calmness of a stroll home and nary a look back, he simply begins to casually walk back in towards the Bowerlands, as if all of this hadn't even happened.
Eol watches for a very long time as Andis walks away. There's a glimmer of a question. There's a part of him that wants to ask. There's always the thing where it's like, okay, well, this person isn't doing the thing anymore, so who's going to do the thing? Who's going to ask the fucking question? And then as Andis goes off to go do advanced oldest god shit, Eol looks at the 2 sword hilts, one sticking out of his bag and one sticking over his shoulder, asking why it's not my job, and turns and walks down the road.
And that's our game. Thank you, Eol. Thank you, Zad. That was our debut episode of Cosmic Century Nights, the Game Woven campaign, and our introduction to Eol. How we feeling?
Grumpy.
Grumpy?
He feels grumpy, but kind. Well, like, I'm not personally grumpy.
Oh, okay.
He's a grumpy dude. I'm feeling good. Feeling good about it. We're finding our feet.
You've been listening to Game Woven, a creative world-building collective building a world one game at a time. We are currently introducing our characters for our Cosmic Century Nights game. Cosmic Century Nights is a fantasy adventure RPG created by James D'Amato and Andrew Murziowski. If you like what we're doing, please go over and support us on Patreon at patreon.com/GameWoven. You can also find us on social media, and you can support us through our parent network over at patreon.com/OneShot. It's also a good place to go if you are looking for new shows to listen to, because we are in excellent company.